What is going on, everyone? Happy Thursday. Welcome into another edition of GC Live. I am your host, Jack Veltri, and I will be joined by my other host, Kendall Smith, here in a few minutes, hopefully. I'm just getting a text from her that she has got some stuff going on with the Knights. Obviously, she works with the Charlotte Knights, so I believe she just said that their game up in Charlotte has been canceled today. So, yeah, it is that she'll be along here pretty soon. She just texted me that she cannot catch a break. So we'll see when she's on, but appreciate you guys joining us as always. And Cameron blasting game 6571 says Blackjack Veltri. So I take it you probably watched Inside the Gamecocks when I made my debut on with Jamie and Rob yesterday. Yeah, that's right. So Jamie Bradford gave me the nickname of Blackjack Veltri, even though, I mean, I guess it's like the card, but guys, I am white. I'm white as can be. So, but I like that. I like the nickname. It is, yeah. Appreciate you watching that. That was cool. But yeah. Black Jack Veltri. Yeah. If you guys like the nickname, then I do too. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. But that was all Jamie. He told me then. I was like, wow, okay, cool. So so I guess they give everyone a nickname on that show. But hope you guys are all doing well. As you can see, I am back home now in Irmo, where I was in Tampa, Florida, for the past 3 days, SEC Media Days. So South Carolina went on Tuesday, and we're going to dive into thoughts from the trip, how everything went. I'll set the scene for you guys, so much more, and get you guys talking about what happened over at Media Days, my thoughts, what stood out. There's a lot to talk about. But before we get into all of that, again, appreciate all of you joining us. Let's go ahead and talk about our good friend over at Clint Hammond of CMG Home Loans. Clint is the man. He's been the presenting sponsor of the show for such a long time now, to where, I mean, shoot, before I even hopped on Central, I think he was still doing, he was the presenting sponsor of the show. So it's been that long. It's crazy. So Clint has been in the mortgage industry for over 20 years now. If you need help with your mortgage, anything like that, housing needs, any confusion that you may have, give him a call, 803-422-6797. The NMLS number for him is 71597. Excuse me. I had gum in my mouth, so I need to spit that out. Full transparency like that. It was bothering me. So I there's no way for me to do it off air because I have Kendall with me, or not with me yet. So I can't hop out of here. But anyway, back to it. ClintHammond.com for more information. All this will be above us here on screen. He's the man. Lifelong Gamecock fan, longtime supporter of the show. He's the best. Get in contact with him if you have any housing questions. Thank you, Clint. One more ad read, then we're going to jump right into it. Zen AI is the home of vibecasting. It's a new way to capture and share conversations. They help anyone turn a conversation into something that is worth sharing. Whether it's a podcast, a reel, TikTok post, no production skills are required. The great thing about Zen AI is that it's portable, right? So you can use it through your phone. It's produced. It's an AI producer that will be able to help make the editing process much simpler for you, and it's quick. So all good things right there. Zen AI is currently in invite-only beta. Join the waitlist today for a chance at early access by going to zen.ai to sign up, or head on over to our show notes in the description on this video for a direct link. So if you're watching through YouTube or whatever, you can hit the, I forgot what the button is called, but like the exit out feature in the bottom right-hand corner. And you go to the show notes right below the title of the show. You click on there, there will be a link for you to go in there and check out zen.ai. Or Zen AI, I should say. So appreciate those sponsors. And we'll have one more sponsor to get into a little bit later in the show with our friends over at Rytech. But anyway, no longer delay. Kendall will be here hopefully soon. Last time I was expecting her to be here pretty soon, and it ended up being like 30 minutes into the show. So, and that's no shade whatsoever. Like, Kendall's the best. She's doing her thing. So I understand that. And I'm more than capable of being able to handle the show on my own. I used to do my own on Sundays anyway. So, no, appreciate you guys. Welcome back, Jack. Thank you, Craig. Jack, how was it? Did I make any stops? Adam asks. So on Monday, I drove down, and it turned out to be a much longer drive than I anticipated. I did not go to Buc-ee's, Adam, so I'm sorry about that. I did not go to Buc-ee's, unfortunately. What did end up happening, though, was that I stopped out, and I don't know if you guys know where Pooler is. It's out in Georgia. And I was out there grabbing some lunch. It's a little bit past South Carolina, so it's like you're driving through like the Hardyville, Bluffton, Sun City area on that main road on the highway there. You get through that, and then like Pooler is like one of the first things in Georgia. So I stopped there for lunch, and I went to Jersey Mike's. It was great. I got some good food. And then I'm trying to go to the bathroom. I talked about this story on radio this morning, so if you listen to me then maybe you could block this out for a second. But I was talking about on radio this morning that I was waiting at Jersey Mike's to go to the bathroom for like 10 minutes. Like I really had to go. Like it was that feeling of like, man, like I need to go to the bathroom or something bad's about to happen. And I was waiting like 10 minutes. I'm like, what is going on? Like I was getting impatient. I banged on the door once. I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing? Like go get out of the bathroom. What is taking you 10 minutes? Like, I don't remember it taking 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. So I have no idea what was going on. But anyway, I left Jersey Mike's, not even having gone to the bathroom yet. And then I walk over to Moe's that's literally right next door. And I'm waiting 10 more minutes to go to the bathroom. And I really had to go, like I said. So it got to a point where I was just like, I went up to the counter at Moe's and I'm like, can you guys just open the door or like knock on it and see what's up? Because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is the deal with it taking 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. So anyway, some lady that was working there knocks on the door and has a key to unlock the door, and nobody was in there. So the door was locked the whole time. So I guess the world was just against me there. So I lost like 20 minutes of time doing that. And then I think I had to stop it one more time for gas or something. So the drive down took me forever. I didn't get there till like 6:00 on Monday. And then right after, as soon as I got to the hotel, and I'll talk more about the hotel in a little bit, then we'll get into everything with what happened at Media Days. But, getting to the hotel, and then the SEC had such great events while we were there, like little social events. Like probably within the first hour after I got there, I went over to this little restaurant that they were having something at with all the media members across the street in Tampa, and it was right on the water, and they had like drinks and food and all that, and it was great. So that was a good time. And they had like a Cuban night at the home of the Tampa Bay Lightning the other day. So that was really cool. It was good. But on the drive back was very quick. I mean, it was 7.5 hours. It probably took me 8. I stopped for lunch yesterday at like Burger King, quick little lunch. Had to do a little interview with that baseball commit that I posted on Gamecock Central today, Slade Bird. So go ahead and check that on out. But I had to do that. So that prolonged me a little bit. And then I had to gas, and that was it. So, but it was good. It was good. Good time overall. How was the food at Media Days? I only had one meal at Media Days. I ate there in the the ballroom area on Tuesday. It was fine. It was good. They had like a little chicken and I think like blackened salmon. So it was pretty good. I had some little I was a little surprised. Tater tots. I thought the SEC would have like some fancy potatoes. I will say, I have it on my phone here actually. And again, I know we're delaying here to talk about all the action with South Carolina and whatnot. But again, I'm informing you guys about the trip, and I'm kind of stalling to wait until see if Kendall will show up. So this is what it looked like. They had key lime little slices there, key lime pie. If you don't know anything about me, I love key lime pie. It is one of my favorite desserts. Probably I love ice cream. I love cookies. Cake is fine depending on where you get it from. I'm a big peanut butter guy. All that. Key lime pie. I mean, it's very good. Oh, perfect. All my stalling paid off because guess who is here? Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, everyone. Sorry I've been late the last 2 times. It's just like everything pops up and you're like running from point A to point B. So I'm glad to be here. Hello. I probably look crazy.
No, it's fine. I was stalling for a good bit here, just talking about, we got questions about how was the food at Media Day. I was talking about my travel getting down there. We haven't really even dove into anything with Media Days itself yet. I was just showing our subscribers look at this. So the food spread at media days, they had like this little key lime dessert.
Very Florida of them.
Yeah, very Florida of them. It was pretty good. Like overall, it was a good time out there. They had you'll like this. They had like a social event on Tuesday night after South Carolina spoke at the Tampa Bay Lightning Arena. So that was cool.
That's so cool. I actually love that arena. It's unreal. I went to a Tampa Bay Lightning game this past year, and they were playing the Canadiens, and it was such a great environment. I love Tampa. I told you I was jealous that you were in Tampa. So jealous.
Yeah, no, it was a good time out there.
You had a good time. It was fun. I need to hear though. I know you already told everyone, but that drive, was it bad?
So, and this comment explains. So I was explaining real quick. I was explaining that I stopped for lunch at Jersey Mike's and I ate everything, but I had to really go to the bathroom afterwards, like really bad. And so I'm waiting in Jersey Mike's near the bathroom for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? So I bang on the door and I'm like, hey man, come on, let's go. And the guy was like yelling back at me or whatever. And then I went to Moe's like right next door trying to go to the bathroom. And I was waiting 10 more minutes. And then I went up to the counter at Moe's and they unlocked the door and nobody was in there. So I guess I was just being rage baited the whole time while I was out there. So I waited 20 minutes for nothing. But I thought about going into the women's restroom, quite honestly, but I don't know. That would have been a bad look. I don't want some lady waiting out there and be like, "Oh, I just came out of the bathroom." Yeah, sorry. But no, it was a good time. It was a great time.
It looked busy, and at least we didn't have a Shane Beamer moment that was like a John Sumrall moment. That was.
Oh my God! What are your thoughts on that? And for people that were wondering,
first of all, he wasn't joking. Okay,
I know. I said the same thing to Wes this morning.
You weren't joking. You're saying you're joking now because you feel bad and you got called out because you looked rude and it was a really
so rude.
And you weren't joking. Like he was so serious. If he was actually joking, again, read the room. You don't make jokes. I felt bad. It's just like it's not cool to embarrass somebody like that. I'm sure that media member didn't want that to happen. Yeah. Explain, Jack.
So what happened was, and I was not there yesterday. I saw this on Twitter. This is after I left because Florida didn't speak till the afternoon, I want to say. But what happened was a media member's phone, I guess, went off during Summerall's press conference in the main room yesterday, and he made it sound like he was joking afterwards. But like when you listen to him, there's the clip out there somewhere. He is just talking like, you would have been kicked out of. If this was a players' meeting, you would have been kicked out and all this and that. Like the tough guy act, I don't buy it. So it's I don't know what to say. It's I don't know. I mentioned it on radio today, and like Wes is like, it was a joke, right? I'm like, it didn't sound like a joke.
They say, but
but nothing about it sounded sarcastic though, right?
No, it didn't. It sounded like so serious. So that's why I'm like, all right, at least that to me, that's like the one moment of media days where it's like, that's not a good look at all. But South Carolina seemed to have a pretty successful media day. You were there on Tuesday, Jack. So what was your biggest takeaway from the event?
Well, I think there are a few for sure. Yes. And it's hard to just say one. Yeah.
But your marquee, like what's on your marquee of things that you learned?
Okay, so number one, let's just run through it real quick. Number one, the injury updates on Peak and Stewart. So Dylan Stewart, Jacarius Peak, did not play at all in spring practice. They've been out. They've been recovering from injuries. Dylan has a back injury, and Peak hurt himself playing basketball, knee injury during the offseason. So those two guys are doing good. They're on track. Beamer did not say exactly like when they're going to be back. The hope is obviously they would be back for the start of the season, but we will see. Beamer was then asked, is there any possibility that you could hold them out for the first two games of the year since you're playing Kent State and Towson, get them ready to go for Mississippi State? And he said whenever they're ready to go is when they'll be playing. So if they're ready to go for week one, they'll be playing. And if not, then they'll be playing, after that, whenever they're actually ready. They're not going to – they're treating every opponent the same. Beyond that, looking back at my notes here, obviously South Carolina tomorrow when the preseason poll comes out, they will not be picked as highly in the SEC. Last year, they were picked 5th. They were one of the media darlings of the week last year out in Atlanta. And after a 4-8 season, they're kind of back to being the underdogs, if you will. And I think we're going to see South Carolina lean completely into that mindset. Beamer even said that, quote, everybody thinks we suck. And he thinks that everybody's like, quote, nobody thinks we're worth a shoot, and that's okay. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's all in on that underdog mentality. And when you look at it from the last few years of when they used that in 22 and 24, South Carolina won 8 and 9 games respectively. So they seem to thrive when everybody's counting them out and the expectations are low and nobody anticipates them doing anything. Beyond that, and again, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but again, these are the main things that stood out. There are going to be a lot of position battles this preseason camp. The ones that were noted in questions that were asked, I asked Beamer about the edge position because who's going to be lining up opposite of Dylan Stewart. That's a very big topic of discussion, and Beamer did say that with that position, it'll come down to which guys can make the most plays and then also who can take some of the pressure off of Dylan Stewart. Because if you go back to last year, Brian Thomas had a great season, but Dylan was always getting double teamed to the point where he still had 4.5 sacks and had a career high in tackles and a lot of TFLs, but he wasn't as effective when it came to sacks. Like something just felt different compared to his freshman year when he had Kyle Kennard out there. So having someone that can help out in that regard is what Beamer does want. And then you have the kicking situation. Max Kelly, Upton Belletfont, and Malik Orson are the guys that are in the running to be the kicker, kicking field goals this season. So those are the main things I would say that are sticking out. There are other position battles as well, like offensive line, who's going to start there, who's going to be your lead running back, who's going to be quarterback 2, defensively, who's starting at nickel and safety and DB and all that. You could run through literally every position. There's going to be a battle somewhere in most cases. But those are the main things I would say that I take away that we learned a lot about this week.
Just a few things, right? Just a few small things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep it to a few things, but those are the main things. They're talking to so many people and there's so much going on. Like these media day schedules are very intense that a lot of storylines obviously naturally come out of these events. But I'm curious, Jack, because we talked about this, like the overall vibe. And I want to get into two sides of this. The vibe from the guys from Shane, and then the vibe from the national media about South Carolina. Now, Paul Feinbaum had a really interesting comment that went like semi-viral, at least in like this side of the U.S., South Carolina, with talking about how much more pressure should be on Dabo than Shane. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, that's a national media story that kind of just took its way that involved South Carolina. But from a national standpoint, what do you feel like the vibe was from them? I think I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was not in the main room when I was in there for a little bit when Beamer was speaking, but I kind of caught it towards the tail end because the Wi-Fi was really rough in the main floor where everything was going on. So luckily I was staying at the hotel where the event was going on at the Tampa Marriott there. So I was able to go back up to my room and I had to get some work done. Plus we had already spoken to Beamer at that point. So it wasn't much use to sit in the main room and listen to national questions, but nothing was asked about like the hot seat discussion or like that sort of stuff, or like, like Kendall Browse and what he's going to bring, like the specifics of that. So I guess my takeaway from, I don't have a huge takeaway from the national guys because that's the stuff to talk about right there is like, what kind of pressure is Beamer facing this year? Of course, it got brought up in conversations and whatnot. It always is. But yeah, I was a little surprised that those questions really weren't asked there. But when you talk about the overall vibe, I think it was good. Like for being 4-8 last season, I'll say this. Beamer does recognize that last year was really bad on all fronts. Like that's why they made changes. That's why things are going to be different from his standpoint heading into this season. It has to be, right, to save his job and his future in Columbia for sure. At least that's what it seems like. But yeah, that's the vibe I would say is that like you could kind of get the sense that like they're ready to like get this thing going and knock the play. I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder this year. Like I think that's kind of the mentality that they have. I sense that they're confident, but like not like last year, right? Where you felt really good coming off of the 9-4 season, because of course you're going to feel a lot more confident after that. But I think it's that chip on their shoulder, like we're going to prove you all wrong type of mentality, and I think that's good.
I agree. I think that there's a fine line that you've got to balance in the confidence category. If you're South Carolina, you don't want them coming in with their shoulders slumped, not feeling great about last season. Like you've got to turn the page. Last year is last year, but you also have that in the back of your mind. You know the expectation. You know that there's pressure. And we've had that conversation so many times on the show, Jack, where we have sat here and we've talked about how much there is riding on this season for South Carolina. But it is good to know that the vibe felt good for everyone. Do you feel like there were any questions that were left? And I know you just kind of mentioned it, like certain positions, and we're trying to figure out, where guys are going to end up. There's a lot of questions around special teams, still some questions with the offense. There will be things we will not get answered until we see South Carolina take the field. And we've been very honest about that. But do you feel like there were any questions that maybe could have been answered that you didn't feel like were answered or talked about much?
It's a good question. I think we got a lot of it with the local media. Like I think there was a ton of discussion about Kendall Briles and his offense, and of course South Carolina's not going to reveal the whole secret of like what they're going to be calling, what they're doing. But it was interesting to hear about, like, I think Nick Carver summed it up. Like he described like Kendall's offense as fun. So, and like Lenoris like loves the tempo of it. So I think like that's little tidbits that are good to hear, because the Mike Shula pro style offense did not work at all. And I don't remember the guys ever saying it was fun or anything. But yeah, nothing really. I think we got a good bit of answers. I don't think there was like, not off the top of my head that I can think of like anything that was like left like unsaid or something wasn't asked or anything. Maybe those things I mentioned before with like the national folks, but yeah, I think they said what they needed to say. I will also mention one other thing that I thought was very interesting. I think Nick mentioned it first, and then Lenoris mentioned it after. He was saying that Nick, I'm talking about Nick Carver, is that this has been the hardest summer for the team because of just the work they're doing in practice, of working harder than like Lenoris summed it up really well. Like in years past, summer workouts would get easy. Like it wouldn't get harder as the summer went on. Like it would get easier to some degree because it's at the start of the summer. You're just getting back into it. It's supposed to be tough at the start. But this summer, he was saying it's only gotten tougher. So we'll hopefully learn more about like what that all really entailed. It was a little vague with their answers of like, what were the workouts like? What were you guys doing every day? Like they weren't going to reveal that right then and there. Maybe at team media day they will. We'll see. But that was the main thing of like, I thought that was interesting. This was a really hard summer for them. And it's supposed to be, quite frankly, because you went 4-8 last season. You got to do everything to be better this year. So, yeah, I mean, guys were holding each other accountable, young guys, old guys. It was really good.
That is interesting. And you feel good like hearing that because you know that things are, getting harder. They're not letting up. They're making sure this coaching staff is making sure that this team will be ready. And it is reassuring to hear, especially Nick Harper saying, okay, yeah, Lenoris really likes the tempo of this offense that Kendall Briles has put together. I mean, that is the biggest question mark as we head into the season, in my opinion, is what exactly is this offense going to look like and how are you going to showcase Lenoris Sellers? That is top tier, number one. And so that like those little tidbits are important to know because yeah, there is last year in the back of everyone's head where you go into the season, you're like, Lenoris Sellers could be a Heisman favorite here this year. And then you have the season that you have. So to have someone that really understands, okay, this is about highlighting Lenoris and what he does best, that's really positive. I'm curious if there were any other quotes, comments, things that stood out to you, Jack, at media days about the offense specifically, and maybe not even just with how it's accentuating Lenoris, but how it's making everybody look good and play better.
Yeah, let me go through.
I'm asking him for specific quotes.
I know. I'm like, there's so many different quotes from Media Day that I'm like looking back from.
He's got to go through them all.
I did ask Lenoris a little bit about, and I think this is an interesting discussion that we can have here. Like, to me, I knew this was something I wanted to ask at Media Day. I wish I asked more about it. And honestly, we'll have birdies with Beamer next Thursday, a week from now. This is probably stuff to ask Briles specifically. But Lenoris is the guy that when he's out in the field, he's running the show, right? Kendall's calling the plays, but Lenoris is the guy that's got to go out there and execute those plays, right? And a lot went wrong last season, right? The offensive line wasn't great. The running back situation at times with Matt Fuller was fine, but you didn't have a great running back situation there. Rasul Faye's almost supposed to be your guy at running back. He only got 300-plus yards. So not what you necessarily anticipated. That put a lot of pressure on Lenoris to go out there and make plays. And look, when you have a bad offensive line and bad play calling and not a great run game, you're kind of left SOL, right? So I asked Lenoris, how would you evaluate your decision-making last year? Because I think there were a lot of times where I feel like he kind of had to play hero ball a little bit, be Superman. And sometimes I'm just like, why not get rid of that ball? Why take a sack here, get rid of that ball, or throw it here, or do something different, right? And I didn't put it like that, but I put it simply, how would you evaluate your decision-making last year? And he said, I would say that I didn't put the ball in jeopardy a lot, like throwing double and triple coverage. I just think sometimes, it's the competition every week. You know what I'm saying? So you're playing guys who are as good as guys you're playing. You throw up a one-on-one ball gets tipped or anything like that, or you're a little bit late on something that you should have been throwing the ball earlier on. That's just what's going to happen. And then I said, how much has Coach Briles helped you with that decision-making of figuring out, like, how to get – here's when you get rid of the ball. Here's when you tuck it and run. What's the collaboration like there? And he just said it comes down to playing football. He said, play fast, play free. Like, I'm with you. That's what Kendall Briles said. Trust your eyes and don't hesitate. That's all he says. So I don't know if that really answered the question there, but it's a little bit more about how that relationship works with those two because, look, you're going to need the offensive line to be better. You're going to need the run game to be better. The play calling and Lenoris being at their best, I think is probably the most important thing with this offense coming into this year.
We've talked so much, Jack, about Shane Beamer, about the offense. I honestly think we've talked more about special teams than we've talked about South Carolina's defense heading into this season. We haven't talked about it too much. So what was made from a defensive standpoint about South Carolina at Media Days as we look ahead to the season?
Yeah, so Peyton Williams was there representing the Gamecocks on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, look, I think the reason why we don't talk about that group as much is because we know what to expect. Like Torian Gray, who's now the co-DC along with Clayton White, like those guys, Travian Robertson, like Deion Barnes, like they have a very good group of coaches on the defensive side of the ball to where I think that one thing that's been super consistent over the 5 years of the Clayton White defense is that they've always been giving you a chance to win a football game, right? I think the only exception to that was maybe like 2023 when they didn't force a turnover the entire month of October, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a problem. But beyond that, like even last year, I know they weren't amazing and they took a step back after 24, but they were still good enough to give you a chance every single week to where if the offense was just competent enough to score 25 points a game, right? Maybe a little bit more, maybe close to 30. You win a lot more football games than you ended up actually winning. So that's the thing. The defense, you know what you're getting every year. So I don't think there were a ton of questions about that. And plus, it was just one defender there. But I did talk to Peyton Williams a good bit, more so about his journey because he's a guy that has been with the program this is his 5th year at the program now. So Beamer loves to take guys to media days that have paid their dues. He's definitely a guy that's paid his dues. He didn't start until he only started one game 2 years ago. It was at Vanderbilt. And then last year started all 12 games. But he was kind of in the shadows the whole time, right? Because he's in the room with Jalen Kilgore, Nicky Minwari, and DQ Smith and Cam Smith and like guys like that have been around the program for years and really were the stars of Torian Gray's success. Now I think this is Peyton Williams' chance to – I kind of put it like this, like how do you feel about the chance to be the guy this year? Because you're the old guy in the room. You're going to be starting at safety, right? It's your job until proven otherwise. How do you feel about that? And he embraces it, right? Like I know you got young guys now. I know Jazavian Currents is a popular name that really, I think, should be pushing for some playing time this year out of South Point. And we'll see where he ends up. But like Peyton Williams, this is his chance to really be like that next guy in line from the Torian Gray pipeline of DBs that have gone on to have great success at the college level and turned it into being drafted. So could that be Peyton Williams next year? For sure. But I think it's going to take a great season to get to that point. So I know it's a little bit more about Peyton, but again, we didn't hear as much about the defense because I think we just come to expect that group to be very good year in and year out. But believe me, next time we're on here, we'll have a lot more to talk about with the defense because we'll be hearing from Clayton White and all the other coaches over at Birdies next week.
Did you decide if you're playing?
I did. I was at the
$1 million question.
I was at the event at the Lightning Arena the other night, and I had already asked the rest of the guys. Like I knew they weren't playing, but I asked them like in Gamecock Central. I was like, I texted them and was like, "Are you guys going to go?" and all that. So I put the request in, and I was like, I talked with a buddy from another outlet, and I was like, "Are you going to be playing?" And I know he's not great at golf, so he was telling me like he hasn't played since last year or whatever, and his handicap's in like the 20s. And I'm kind of the same way. I actually played over the 4th of July, but I told you like I was not feeling good after playing. But I am going to play. I'm going to have to go to the course here and go to the driving range this weekend, go next week, and then we'll tee it up on Thursday. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun.
That is good news. I was a little concerned that you weren't going to.
I was thinking about it. I'm like,
okay, maybe.
I'd be such a wuss to not go out there and play. So, but yeah. So, and before we keep it rolling here, one more ad read we need to get into real quick. Our good friends over at Rytech Electric, they are locally owned, based in Lexington, serving the Columbia and Midlands area since 2007. And with Rytech, whether it's a last-minute repair before move-in or a full wiring package on your latest build, Rytech Electric partners with the Carolinas' top production home builders and keeps everyday homeowners powered as well. Whether it's a flickering light or a dead outlet that can derail your morning routine, their same-day service and 1-year warranty mean you'll never hunt for extension cords ever again. From turnkey new construction wiring to fast, friendly service calls, Rytech has you covered every step of the way. They tell you the price before any work starts. That way there's no surprises. Every electrician is a Rytech employee, not a subcontractor. So give them a call today at 1-803-303-8274. A real person will pick up and tell them that Gamecock Central sent you. So thank you, Rytech.
I love that. I love that they seem like a very good, grounded business. People that are working for their company. Yeah. You don't have to talk to an AI person when you call. Oh my God. Oh, don't even get me started on that. Okay. When I answer, when I'm calling something and then it's not a thumbs up. It's a thumbs down.
No, it's a thumbs down. You know what? Go ahead.
Well, I just call and I'm like, hi. And they say, hi, this is so-and-so. And you can tell it's AI. And then they're like, what do you need? I'm like, I need to speak with an agent. And they're like, well, you can press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 to talk about this, and this. I'm like, no, I would like to speak with a representative. And they're like, I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying right now. What would you like to do? And I'm like, speak to a representative. I'm like screaming in my phone. Anyways, that's my rant of the day. So
you know what's become the worst, like along those lines. Like I feel you on the AI stuff. I think like Bojangles is like this. I remember going a few months ago, so random here, but you made me think of it. You go to Bojangles, you pull around, and it's an AI person talking to you at the drive-thru.
What?
I swear to God. I swear to God. I haven't been to Bojangles in a little bit, but last time I went, I remember it being like that. It's been like that a few times.
No.
Yeah. So next time you go to Bojangles, maybe you'll get a normal person, but like it's so weird. And it's like, I don't know. I know. I hate this too, Adam. I think we all do. You know?
Stop using it. Okay. Anyways, back to media days. What was cool there, Jack? Like, I mean, that's what I love about media days. There's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. What was like the coolest part of it for you?
Yeah, I think the main thing was just like catching up with people that I haven't caught up with in a long time, like the national guys over at On3. That was cool seeing some of them. Shout out to those guys and meeting other people that I hadn't met before. Like I met some of the guys over from the Kentucky site, KSR, so that was cool. Seeing those guys, and yeah, it was just fun. It was a good time being out there. Again, the SEC puts on a very good event. It's crazy, it's hectic. Like they don't call it Radio Row anymore, but Digital Drive, because you have all the podcasters out there.
Oh, I didn't know that. It was still Radio Row when I went.
Yeah. They changed it last year, I think, in Atlanta. Okay. So it's pretty cool, but it's like everybody's set up over there. And no, it was a good time. You had Nick Saban out there yesterday, and he's there today. So you had it's just, you never know who you're going to run into there. And it was very cool seeing all these big names. Like I saw Aaron Murray, the former quarterback for Georgia, who does some college football talk now. So, I mean, guys like Damian Harris, the former running back from Alabama, does work with CBS. So, I mean, it's just you never know who you're going to see there. So it was really cool from that standpoint. And the hotel was great. I mean, the setup was awesome. It's literally right on the water, which is really cool. You look out the window of because they had all these big windows next to where Radio Row was. And yeah, the water's right there. All these boats docked. I mean, it's a cool setup. I will say, I don't know if they'll ever go back to Tampa again. They're going to Nashville next year, which is cool. But I mean, Tampa.
We'll get to go to Hall's Steakhouse.
I know. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go to Hall's Chop House.
Chop House. That's our inside info or our inside joke. Although if you've watched the show for a while, you remember Jack. So he went on a trip to Nashville and he asked Shu, our lovely boss, if he could go to Hall's. And she was like, yeah. Speaking of Bojangles, that's where I was going when I was going on a trip. Because we went to Bojangles. It was me, Michael Sauls, Colin Taylor, and CJ. And we all pull up at Bojangles, and they literally will never let me hear the end of this. I ordered a salad.
I don't get that.
Which, by the way, now I'm scared to order salad because of the whatever.
AI. I know.
No, not the AI, because of the parasite.
Oh,
guys.
Oh my God.
That's a whole other topic. But anyways, we go to Bojangles and I order a salad and I order grilled chicken salad, and they were just letting me hear it for the rest of the drive. But anyways, Jack got to go to Hull. So Nashville will be fun. I'm actually going to Nashville next week with the Knights.
Wow.
So maybe I'll go to Hull's.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Was Kirk and Peter there in Kirk Herbstreit and his dog? No, they were not there. I don't think it was the SEC network crew was there. Alyssa Lang was there. So that was cool.
He was doing the desk.
Yeah, she was doing the desk. It was mainly the SEC network guys, Feinbaum, Roman Harper, McElroy was there. I didn't see, besides Saban, I didn't see any of the game day crew there or anything. So, but yeah, no Kirk or Peter there. What is your favorite spot to have SEC? I think I've been to 3 now. So I've been to Nashville, been to Atlanta, now I've been to Tampa. I like Tampa. I just tell you how far it is, right? It's a 7.5 hour drive for I was there for probably 36 hours. My dad texted me after I was leaving and he's like, that's it? I'm like, yeah. I was just there for literally a day and a half basically. So yeah, it's too, for guys like us that are only there for one team, and I'm not staying all 4 days, it's a really short event. So I kind of wish it was in Atlanta, distance wise, but I wish it was Tampa, right? You get what I'm saying? Not have to drive
Atlanta distance, but the Tampa location.
Yeah, Atlanta's also really cool. Nashville, I like Nashville, but I think Nashville's overrated. You go to Broadway once, and it's you've been a million times, right?
I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Broadway next time I'm out there. So
I like Nashville. I think it's fun.
It's fun.
I enjoy country music, but I also have done Nashville a bunch, which I'm really grateful for. So I would probably pick of those 3. I've only been to Atlanta. I would pick Tampa of those 3 just because I love the beach. I love Tampa, but you're right. The distance is not the best. When I went in Atlanta, it was cool. It's cool having it at the Hall of Fame. It's not too far of a drive. Actually, when we went, I went with Mike Yuva. He drove us. I remember this. Yes. We went with Mike, and Colin wasn't there at the time. I think he was out of town at a wedding or something. So it was me, Michael, and Mike, and it was no Wi-Fi. Same thing. We got to work on this. Okay. I don't know if it was this way last year for you, but you told me this year the Wi-Fi was a struggle. It was a struggle there too. Nothing can get uploaded. Like, we've got to have better Wi-Fi at these places.
I know. Thank God I was staying at the hotel there, because I was on the Marriott Wi-Fi at the hotel. But like, the SEC Wi-Fi, I remember being awful last year. The event is great, but the most important aspect of the event, if you don't have Wi-Fi, you ain't working. Like, talk. I mean, you got so many people having their podcast setups and whatnot. I mean, there's a ton going on. Computers everywhere. Like, you need to have a really strong signal there. But I understand it can be tough with hundreds of people doing the same thing as you're doing there. So that makes it a little tough.
So can we say talking season is like coming to, I mean, it's not come to a complete close, because we will still hear from people, but it's going to be winding down soon, which is exciting. Birdies with Beaver you've got, and then you'll
Birdies and then Media Day. I don't have a date on Media Day yet. One can assume it would be maybe on the 6th. I'm just spitballing there. Maybe it's on the Players Report on the 6th. So it's usually the day before fall camp or preseason camp gets going. Let's eliminate the term fall camp. I've tried to eliminate it from my vocabulary and use preseason camp instead. Can we hop on the bandwagon of everyone?
I don't think I've ever said fall camp. Legit.
Fall camp is so
summer. First of all, it's summer until
October,
September 22nd. Yeah, and then it's not the fall, and it's preseason, so it would only make sense.
But yeah, talking season's almost over. Like, Birdies next week. We'll hear from the coaches. I'm gonna have a few more stories coming out on some of this, like what's the toughest games on the schedule, who are the players to watch for. Like, we're still gonna have stuff up like that. Once we get past Team Media Day and camp gets rolling, I think that's when talking season ends.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, I did see this. I thought this was so cool. So this is something that Alyssa Lang put out, and it happened on Media Days. And so I did want to shout it out, because we were talking about Nick Harper. He gave some great answers and was really insightful. So glad he was able to go, and definitely someone that deserved it. But she said that she just had interviewed Nick. This was on Tuesday. And she said right after we finished, he saw former Gamecock quarterback Steven Garcia, who is currently dealing with a battle of his own. He was diagnosed with cancer not too long ago, and he was standing off to the side. And Nick asked if he could go and he could pray with them, and they embraced and said a prayer together, and it was a really touching moment. So I did want to say that, like, of all the things that were talked about with South Carolina at Media Day, this one stuck with me the most. I think that is incredible. Nick, obviously a great person, a great player, and just really thought that was so great, and really glad that Alyssa shared it. So thanks, Alyssa, for that. And Steven, we are thinking about you. We're praying for you. I doubt you're watching, but Gamecock Nation has your back always. And I just loved hearing about that moment. I thought that was really great, Jack.
No, that was awesome. I saw Steven at I didn't get a chance to talk with him, but saw him at the hotel there on Tuesday. He was in his normal outfit of like Gamecock shirt, hat, his slides. Like he looks like a guy that is ready to suit up with the rest of the boys. But I mean, look, it's a tough battle. I think he was talking about like he's losing some of his hair and whatnot from the chemo, and he's shaved and whatnot. He looked a little different, I'm not gonna lie, but hopefully he will pull this thing out and beat this. Like, it sucks, but you hope he's able to beat it. So, but it's good. It was good to see him out there, because he lives out in Tampa, so it is good to see that he was out there with the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Bringing some motivation to the group. Obviously, someone they're going to be thinking about all season, and definitely playing for as well, which, he's been such a big part of Gamecock Nation. So glad that he was able to be here with all of them at Media Days. Jack, what did we miss? What did we not talk about? We hit the big points. We hit things that maybe weren't talked about. Talked a little about the offense, the defense. I know we didn't talk a lot about special teams, and there are still some question marks there. But what else did we miss from Media Days?
I think we hit up everything. If you want to read more about like specific quotes and whatnot, I know I pulled a few of them up, but go on over to GamecockCentral.com. I just posted a story this morning about like quotes from Lenore's Sellers at the podium for Media Days that we hadn't published yet. So it's up there now, and there's more stories coming. And I talked to a few Alabama players to get some insight on what they think about South Carolina and that game coming up in September. So that'll be a fun little story. And there's plenty more from Media Days that I've not written about yet that will be up over the next few days. But We do have a lot up on Central right now. So if you want to read any specific quotes, I would check that out. That's probably the one thing I'd say that, like, it'd be cool to get into, like, best quotes from Media Day, but, like, we don't have that pulled up right now. So if you want to go over to Central, check it on out. A lot of good stuff for there. But I think we really hit up everything. I think we got a lot in the show, Kendall. And I'm glad you were able to join a little earlier this time around.
I know. Next time I'll be here at the beginning and I'll be here till the end, I promise. No, but Jack, I love that story, talking to players on other teams about the matchup against South Carolina. That's good. That's creative stuff, Jack. That's what we like to see. And we've got so much of that, as Jack already mentioned, over on GamecockCentral.com. You can follow us on social media at Gamecock Central as well. We've got a ton going on our platforms on social too. So thank you. We'll continue with the talking season fun. I'm excited to hear about Birdies with Beamer next week. I'll be checking in with you all from Nashville, Tennessee. So maybe I'll pop over to Vanderbilt and ask them what they think about South Carolina. No, I'm kidding. But we will have lots and lots more to talk about here on the show. So we'll be with you and inching closer to football season. I can't wait. Jack, great job on the coverage. You crushed it. I felt like I was there and I wasn't even close to Tampa, but you did great. So thank you for all of that, as always. And we'll have plenty more coming your way soon. So have a great rest of your Thursday, everyone. This has been GC Live here on Gamecock Central. For Jack Veltri, I'm Kendall Smith, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.